Okay, yeah. Yeah, in a minute now, it'll be right, that. So, that's good. Good, yeah. 30 seconds to go. Very good. Excellent. Okay, how do I look? Yeah, good. Can't do much more with that, can we? Yeah, give me some cake before I go on. No, don't give me cake. Don't give me cake. Don't give me cake. I'll get it between my teeth and spoil the way I look. Are we on? Oh, yoo-hoo. Hi, hello. Hello, everybody. I'll just wait another minute because it's just about to just give everyone a little chance to start. Maybe I should do something for you guys who are here early and on time. What would that be? Would that be an anecdote, like a little Easter egg anecdote? Have I got any? I once found an interesting looking fungus in the woods. I was really excited about what it might be. Something I'll cover later, actually. And when I went closely, I thought, oh, and I gave it a little prod. And I realised it was a human poo in some tissue. That was disgusting. Maybe that's inappropriate. Maybe I shouldn't start with anecdotes like that. I was going to say I've got better ones. I don't think I have. But I've got better things to learn about, so we can ignore that. Do you know what? At 2 o'clock, thanks for anyone who's here. Let's get started. I'll introduce myself. My name's Ali McKernan, and I'm the FUNgi Guy, also known as that through various platforms and whatnot. And thank you to Lizzie Daly, for inviting me on here. And welcome to your Earth. Excuse me. Just had to little catch there. Welcome to your Earth live lesson. Okay. So good. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to get started. I'm going to get stuck straight in about who I am and why I care about fungi. It's going to be hard to put into words in a very short amount of time. I'm here for 20 minutes. I've got some lovely things to cover. Some of you may have seen this little paper television before that I created. It's got new things inside in case you thought you were going to see the same things. I care about fungi because it's just such an interesting hobby. Obviously, I'm speaking to lots of people who already care about nature in one form or other. So whether it's moths or plants or flowers, birds, whatever your thing is, this is what fungi is to me. It's just a little bit of time every day. I can't help myself, but I think about it. A friend describes it as falling down a wormhole of love for fungi. And it permeates everything that I do. In fact, I took my kids to Chester Zoo last year. We had a lovely time. They really enjoyed themselves looking at the animals, and they're up looking at the exhibits and the orangutans, and I'm down looking at the fungi in the flower beds because they're all around us, and I can't not look for fungi if I'm in the right conditions and right environments and habitats. So I love fungi. I'm part of the British Mycological Society, their outreach part, which is a charity to help get young people engaged with fungi. You can look those guys up. I think I've put a little link in the text below at the bottom. So that's a little bit of what I do. I sometimes lead walks, guided walks and whatnot. Okay, could talk a little bit more about that maybe later on. I'd like to get started. I've got so much to say and I'm rubbish at trying to fit it into time because I go off on tangents because there is so much to say about fungi. I'm going to try my best to rein it in and make this really comprehensible. So you can, I can't even say the word comprehensible. That's a good example of how excited I am. Let's get this going. Okay. So welcome, first of all. 5 things I'm going to talk to you today about. First of all, what is a fungus? I'm going to cover that in its very basic sense because there's a little bit of misunderstanding sometimes what actually fungus is. So I'll do that. Then we'll have a competition. Okay. Straight into a little competition. You've got to beat the fungi guy. Can you beat me in a little game? All right. And then after that, we're going to do super spores. We'll get to the meaty stuff, the real learning point today. The reproduction of fungi is incredible, and they've got some great techniques that they've developed. So I'd like to share that with you. And then we're going to do something I've entitled Up the Pong, okay, which is some incredible smells that fungi possess and certain mushrooms. And you wouldn't believe me unless I told you. And here I am about to tell you. So hang on in there, else you'll miss the Up the Pong section. And I'd like to finish with a little bit of science and well-being, really. Why it matters to me, and why it could matter to you as part of well-being. That's a real big thing. It took me years to realise why I cared so much. But man, you don't have to tick some boxes. So I'll share that with you at the end. Okay, let's get started. Come on, enough about me. Let's talk about fungi. Okay, what is this? What is this? It's a mushroom. This is a typical mushroom, okay? This is one that has, a mushroom is one that would have a stem. We call that a stipe with a cap on top. A bit like something you might buy in a supermarket to eat. Those mushrooms, that's a mushroom, which is a type of fungus. But fungi can look like lots of other things as well. I'll catch on that later too also, okay? But an important fact you need to know is that they are a kingdom all of their own. Here's something for you to remember. Humans only realized to put fungi, dedicate it as a kingdom of its own in the same year that we sent people to the moon. So next time you hear about a moon landing, think, wow, yeah, moon landing. Wow, yeah, that's when fungi became a kingdom all of its own. See, okay, little facts like that. So they are a kingdom along with humans and along with plants and animals and a few others as well. A dedicated kingdom. All right, what is this mushroom thing? Okay, as I mentioned, it's also it is one type of fungus. This is a fungus. If I have two, I've got fungi. Okay, fungi is just a plural. A little one to clear up because sometimes people get confused, including myself at times. All right, but what is a fungus actually? Okay, this is a really important part for you to know because they're different from things like wildflowers. Okay, the fungus, the mushroom is just the fruiting body of a fungus. The fungus lives on elsewhere, and you won't always see any evidence of that at all because it's hidden away, usually underground or possibly in the substrate, which might be wood or a dead tree or something. So think of it a little bit like the apple on a tree. That's the mushroom is just the fruiting body, okay? The tree is hidden underground, a little bit like this, okay? And the underground part here, whoa, first science word. This is a science lesson, okay? I'm going to pass it off as a science lesson. First scientific word, mycelium. Mycelium. And this is like a white cotton wool structure that lives underground, and that is the fungus itself. What you see once, twice, several times a year when it fruits is the fruiting body that just pops up out of the ground, the mushroom itself or a fungus on a tree. The actual fungus itself lives on underground. Okay, that's a little bit about what that looks like. Let's get on with some other things. Now, I said a mushroom might come up as the fruiting body, but fungi also have other fruiting bodies here. We have, they're amazing. I mean, look at these shapes and colours and sizes. We've got cups and earth tongues and corals and stars and balls and brackets, and that's just a sample. I haven't got a scrolling machine big enough to tell you all the different types and shapes and colours and sizes of fungi. And this is what makes, I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm going to tell you because I care. This is what makes fungi so fascinating to me. In my lifetime, I will never meet them all. I'll never see them all. You may, as a birder, see all the birds, and again, that's a huge ask, isn't it? Within your patch, within your town, your country, and maybe even meet most wildflowers. I'll never get close to all the fungi. So for the rest of my life, I will keep finding new fungi. I find new fungi every year, even though I've been doing this for years. Every mycologist finds new fungi every year that they've never found before. How excited! It never runs out. It's the gift that keeps on giving, guys. So these are different types of fruit bodies that fungi can look like. So mushrooms just one type. Okay. Let's move on a little bit. What can we do? Come on. Let's have a game. I'm having to read it backwards. Sorry for me. Can you beat me? All right. Little game time. So here's my special prop. It's a true or false game. Fungi have some of the most wonderful names. Another thing to fall in love with. Okay. So these are the common names. They all go by a Latin name, which is a far easier way for people from different countries to communicate about fungi because they have their own names. But these are our common ones. 4 of these. Okay, I've got 4. 3 of them are real. 1 of them's false. A little red herring I've put in. Which one do you think? If you get it wrong, I win. If you get it right, you beat the fungi guy. Okay, first one. Cabbage parachute. True or false? Next one. King Alfred's cakes. Powdery piggyback or the captain's crown. Okay. Which one of these do you think is true or false? I'll give you 4 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Make your pick. Got a choice? Are you ready? First of all, we'll go to cabbage parachute. True or false? It's true. It's a real one. Ooh, was that you? What about King Alfred's cakes? True. Also a real fungus name. Okay. We're down to 2. This is it. Powdery piggyback. Is it a real fungus? Yes, it is. Which means the captain's crown was my false one, my red herring. Okay. If you chose any of those, you're wrong. You're out. If you were correct, if you beat the fungi guy, well done. I've got a prize. It's this. I've got a free air guitar for everyone that won. I've got one here actually. I've got an example. Look at that. It's quite a nice model. Free air guitar. I'll send you each one of those. Okay. Sounds lovely. All right. Moving on. So well done. A little taster of some of the names there. Right. Let's get to the meaty bit. Super spores. Spores. Our next science word. Let's get it up. It's on a stick and everything. Spores, our next science word. Spores are essentially the seeds of a mushroom, okay, or a fungus. It's the seeds. So the same way that flowers or plants have seeds and fruits and whatever, every living organism wants to recreate, wants to reproduce and make more of itself. And they use their seed to do that. And mushrooms and fungi have them too, okay? Now, it's the way that they get rid of them that's pretty cool. That's what I'd like to share with you a little bit today, okay? So I've got 4 different ways that they're really super cool. So let's move on. Here we go. First one, their first strategy is using the wind. Now, as a mushroom grows like this, it grows up and out of the ground. little pointer, actually, a little teaching point there. The reason it has this stem here is to lift it up and grow up and away and above the grass. So the higher it is, the more chance that when the spores drop out from underneath this underside here between these gills is where all your spores are made. When they drop out, they've got more chance of blowing off in the wind. If it didn't have that stem, they'd just straight onto the ground. So the higher the stem can get, the better chance of further dispersal, which is better chance for the fungi to reproduce. Okay, so this one here, it drops out of the gills and out and away with the wind. And it doesn't drop tens, hundreds, thousands, it drops millions of spores. You can't see them with your eye, but get loads together and you can see them all. Sometimes you'll see them all dusting away, okay, millions at a time. It's a wonderful thing. They're all around us all of the time, by the way. There's probably some in my bedroom right now. They're all around us. Okay, microscopic. Okay, so there's wind. It uses the wind to push it off and find the nearest substrate, or any substrate that's an ideal place for it to grow. Again, a substrate being the thing to live on. So for some fungi, quick bit about substrates, that could be dead or dying wood. It could be poo. Dung is a big one. There's loads of dung specialists. It could be horns, feathers, loads of different places, okay? Or they're just the soil. Let's move on. Another way, another strategy, rain. There's a beautiful thing, people. There's a beautiful thing called the bird's nest fungus. Okay, if you do nothing else after this, at least just Google bird's nest fungus and have a look at a picture of it. They are beautiful. They're like tiny little bird's nests, and inside, if you look inside the basket, they've got these eggs, and each one of those eggs is holding tons and tons of spores. Okay, it's a beautiful thing, but it's microscopic. It's no, not microscopic. It's just very small. Sorry, so smaller than my fingernail. Each fruiting body, but you can get hundreds in a little area on rotting wood. It's a beautiful thing to see. I've only met it a couple of times. Not that common. If you find a bird's nest fungus, do a dance. Do a dance or something like that. A fist bump in the air. Fist punch. So what the rain does, I'm going away again. The rain comes down and it fills up the to release the spores. It fills up that little nest, a bit like a bucket, fills up and up and up like that until eventually whoosh, pours over the edge, washing away the spores with it. Again, dispersal. That's what it's trying to do. Get those spores away to new ground to make new fungi. That's a rain one. Let's have a look at this one. Mechanical. Superb, this one. Mechanical. I've got an example. I'm going to show you. So some fungi release their spores from a sac. And what happens is the sac will sit there like a little ball. And eventually when the spores are ready to go, they're waiting. There's a little hole at the top. And if something like, this is a mechanical process, if something like a stick or some rain or maybe an animal's foot treads on it, or maybe I poke it, a human pokes it, a little bit like a blowhole on a whale, it throws those spores into the air. I've got, this is going to look rubbish for you, but it's brilliant to me. I'm going to put something dark up here so you might be able to see against it. And I've got a little crusty old earth star. But it's a beautiful thing, this. The spores live on for ages in this. And you can find these fruit bodies all year round, even though they're fresh in the autumn time, a typical season for most fungi. But I found this old one, and there's still spores inside it. So if I give it a tap, let's see if that process against the black, you might be able to see the spores come out. Oh, come on. Yes! I think I heard the whole country go, whoa, which is nice, isn't it? So there you go, a little puff, a mechanical process there to release those spores. Okay, the pressure inside builds so much, it has to blast them out. Let's move on. How am I doing for time? Oh, let's move on. Hey up, can't see anything with that. Moving on. Let's have a look. Insects. Oh, this is a belter. There is a fungus called the stinkhorn, the common stinkhorn. There's a few different types as well, wonderful ones. There's an octopus stinkhorn. Google that as well while you're at it. And it grows up quite big, like this big column. And on top is this bulb covered in something called a glebe. I'm going to do another science word. And that's a spore mass, essentially, a mass of condensed spores. And it's a greeny brown slime that sits on top. And it smells of poo and death and rotting meat. And what loves those things? Flies. So the flies come in, they get a whiff, they get a sniff, they come in, they land on it. Those spores stick to the legs. And then when they fly off again and land in all the places they do, what's happened? We've got spore dispersal. Fantastic. Brilliant, brilliant mechanism. One of the only fungi you can smell before you see it. If ever you go on a foray looking for them with other people, you'll hear someone go, I can smell a stinkhorn. And then it's all eyes on who can find the stinkhorn. Fantastic thing. They reek. Sickly sweet smell. I don't mind it really. And they grow from witches' eggs. Oh, I could do a whole 20 minutes on a stinkhorn. Right, next section. Up the pong. Fungi have incredible smells. some, you know, as I did a little bit more research for this to find some extra ones out, you won't believe me. You won't believe me if I said it, but I'm going to try and tell you a few, share a few with you. Okay, give them a sniff. It's a scratch and sniff job, this. It's a really important ID part. I've not talked about that today, about the whole identification process, because in itself, it's a beautiful thing. Because you look at gills, how they attach to the stem. Do they go down? Do they go up? You look at the cap, the colour, the way it cracks, what it's growing in. And then one of the things you will also do sometimes is give it a sniff. You might not know what something is. It looks a bit like 3 other things. Sniff. Whoa. And straight away you know what you've got. And that can be the key identifying feature from it being something else. That's so exciting that you're using all your senses. Ooh. So this is a small list of some of the different smells. Believe me. Coconut. The coconut milk cap's beautiful. Straight away I think of sun cream. Gorgeous. It's got the coconut milk cap. We've got the goat's cheese. Yeah, goat's cheese web cap. I can't read them back to front. Yeah, the rotten cabbage. There's a cabbagey smelly one. Curry. Another milk cap, a curry milk cap. Bed bugs is funny because whenever I find this one, there's a common milk cap called the oak bug milk cap. Whenever I find that on a foray, I say, okay, everyone, pass this round, and everyone give it a bit of a sniff, see what you think of this. And people often say, I'll tell them it's bed bugs, and they'll go, what do bed bugs smell like? And I'll say, I don't know. But if ever I get them, I think I'll know because I'll be able to smell that mushroom. It's a fact without much depth, that, isn't it? I'll not use it again. Okay, I'll learn from everything. This one's one of my favourites, almonds. There is a beautiful mushroom called the prince. Not so common, and when you find it, you just feel delighted. It's covered in golden scales, and it smells. If you give it that scratch, it's the scratch bit on the edges. It reeks of almonds. It's just the most wonderful waft. Who'd have thought it? Don't think it finishes there. It doesn't. There's more smells. We've got honey, engine oil. These two are both wax caps. And when you're out and about, it can be the difference. Again, I mean, engine oil. And it's true. They really do. Overripe pears, wet flour, mouse pea. Never met that. The mouse pea pink girl. Never met that one. And even mashed potato, which makes... I do have an anecdote. I have a better one than the ones I started with. I passed a mushroom round early this year on a foray, and the ranges of smells, because it's very subjective, ranged from one person saying meat and potato pie and another person saying banana milkshake. So there you go. The first few times you smell a mushroom, you might think, it's just mushroomy. But the more you get to know something, like anything in your life, the more you become familiar. You see those little nuances, those little differences. And in this case, you'll smell them. Okay, it's time to start wrapping things up, isn't it? I've got to come to the end. Well-being. Okay, I said I would talk about the well-being and the science of this. Look, we've got to look after our habitats. We know that in terms of conservation. And the best thing we can do is care for those spaces that we find fungi in. But by being out and about, a real point that I'd like to mention is your well-being and how good it is for it. It literally ticks all the boxes for well-being. It was only recently that it dawned on me. I've thought about this inherently inside for a while. In fact, there's a guest speaker again on Earth Live Lesson tomorrow, Joe Harkness, bird therapy, and he pulls it apart for birding, why it's great mindfulness and great well-being. And there's absolute parallels with fungi. So the 5 different areas. Physical is one of the 5 areas of well-being. Yes, it's physical. Sometimes you can walk for miles and miles looking for mushrooms. You can go up and down hills, so we're all right there. We're outdoors, fresh air. Social. I'm in a couple of different clubs, and we go out together and we're looking for fungi, or you can go just with your family, and it's a lovely thing to do. And the joy of finding fungi and say, what's this? What's this? Beautiful. It's a social thing. Mindful. That's a big part of this. Mindfulness. Even mindfulness breaks down to different things, and using your senses, being present, is a big one. Fungi use nearly every single sense. Smell, sight, spotting them, sound. I'll have to ignore that one. Forget that. Oh, look at me trying to think of all the different senses. Taste is one. Not going to go down that route at the moment, but there are some red hot milk that come out of some of these things that are lactation. Not going to go down the edibility route at the moment. And there's another sense that I can't think of off the top of my head. And the last part of well-being is learning. Every time you go out and you find something you've not found before, there's a whole new learning to be done, isn't there? Because you'll take it home, I'll get a book, it's not in that, or it could be that, I'll get another book, I'm cross-referencing, I'm Googling, I'm on Facebook to ask friends, and suddenly you've got this whole wealth of knowledge coming back to you, consolidating your learning. Learning something new is wonderful. Like I said, it's a hobby for life. How excited am I? I've got something I can enjoy for the rest of my life. And I know it's not a fad. Some things I fall out of love with very quickly. I go throw myself in and then I'm not bothered. This, I'll never get out. So I hope that something like that happens for you too, because it's just full of joy. Everywhere you go, like I said, go to Chester Zoo and I'm looking at the fungi in the flower beds and not the animals. I cycle to work and I'm like that at the grass verges. Please cycle responsibly. Well, what was that? And I'll pull over on my bike and have a look what that was. Because fungi are all around us, whether it's your gardens, your parks, grass verges, roundabouts, beautiful ancient woodland. They're all around us all of the time, looking different and at different seasons, different types, but they're always around, and that's just wonderful that we've got this gift at our fingertips all the time. And that, I think, is it. I should roll the screen and tell me. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's Wellbeing. Science, yeah. I've got a little bit of that. There's wonderful. Listen, very quickly on science. Fungi are essential to our to our existence. No fungi, no forest, no future. They're essential. Look up the Wood Wide Web. I'll give you 3 things to look up now. Into Wood Wide Web. It's like an internet between trees and fungi. The relationships, they're essential. But they're also our pharmaceuticals, our medicines. They're yeast to make bread and alcohol and things like that, if you care for it. Incredible amounts of things that they've. I've just found out stonewash jeans. It's the stonewash look is actually from a fungus. There you go. You really wanted to know that one, didn't you? I bet. So I think that's it. Let's have a look. Earth Live lesson. Yes, that's a reminder. There's another one, another 2 tomorrow. So tune in again. Amazing feat that Lizzie's managed to pull all these people together. So that's a little reminder. That was Joe's book, Bird Therapy. He's on tomorrow. Let's have a little look. That is it. That's it. Maybe I could try and answer a few questions. I've got one there. Why do you love fungi? I hope that's come across. I hope I've answered that. Just because it's such a sensory experience, a mindful experience. It's a little treasure hunt for kids who are into Pokemon and they're going around with their apps looking for Pokemon. Whatever. This is the real one. What's that? What's this one do? What does it smell of? How does it look? How can I tell what it is? It's just a mini treasure hunt all of the year round, and that's dead exciting. Every time I go to the woods, I mean, you lose friends over this because every conversation I'll try and mention fungi. You know, I don't have many friends anymore because they're sick of me talking about fungi because they're just so interesting to me. Let's have a look. Someone saw the spores. That's good. We've got magnifiers. Yeah. Where's the best place to find fungi? Look, I've just mentioned a few. A very, very good space are ancient woodlands or general woodlands. But as I mentioned, you can get them on grass verges and even roundabouts, certain types. There are very habitat specific, some species. Some species are dedicated, some of my favorites are wax caps. Gorgeous, but they're unimproved grasslands and pastures. But you get the most beautiful things. Good one for me this year, guys. Graveyards. Want me on 22 minutes? I'm going to tie things up because I bet you're going to get bored. Graveyards is my big one. In fact, I've just bought an Ordnance Survey map. This is how much I love fungi. I bought an Ordnance Survey map, a traditional paper one that I've got pinned up like I'm in some crime thriller. And I'm marking off all the churches on it. And I've got to look in all the churchyards because the ancient spaces, often unimproved with fertilizers, which is great for certain grassland species. And I found a graveyard this year that gave me some beautiful things. Before I leave, quick one. Oh, here's a fungus. I forgot I did have some props. Here's a fungus I found recycling this old piece of wood. Wonderful, the lumpy bracket. And here's a giant puffball that you should see spores. Ready? More spores, more seeds than any other organism in the world. See all them? That's a lot of spores. That's millions in my bedroom right now. Sorry, Mrs. McKernan. Let's have a look. Anything else? What fungi can you find in your garden? It's varied. It's so varied, but if you're welcome, I should at this point mention that if anyone wants to send me pictures for IDing, I'm on Instagram as the.fungi.guy. I think there's a few links at the bottom of some websites you can look at as well for referencing. I'll always try and ID something for you if I can. Lots grow in your garden. If you want to promote it, you don't really have much of a lawn, you can make a little log pile. And as that wood decays and rots down, fungi will do that job. It's them that are making it decay and rot down. They are the world's best recyclers. They're incredible organisms. I think I should probably be wrapping it up. I can't help myself. I want to look at some of the questions. Some more down there. Right, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to leave it there. Yep, someone loves the names. Good. I'm glad you enjoy those names. Guys, thank you very much. I hope some of that made sense. I'm sorry if I spoke very fast, but I had a lot to cover and I could have got on. I really hope you got something from it and enjoyed it. Thank you to Lizzie again for these Earth Live lessons. They've been amazing. What a resource for people to be able to click on and look at and watch back to learn from. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care. I'll see you later. Goodbye and happy hunting. I'm going to, but I can't just click a button. So now it's the awkward bit where I walk away. Oh, did you hear my knees crack then? My knees were cracking then. I'm getting older. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening. And yeah, I want to end it. Yeah. Bye.